The movie kicks off in Syria, where we meet this badass woman who stumbles across a gang of terrorists out in the desert. Armed with just her small knife, she takes them all out like it's no big deal. This woman is Parker, a top-notch commando and military investigator. She's working alongside her buddy Spider, and together they've just wrapped up another successful anti-terror mission in Syria. But Parker's life takes a turn when she gets a call from her ex-boyfriend, Jesse, who's now the sheriff of her old hometown. Jesse breaks the heartbreaking news that her dad died in a mining accident. Without wasting a moment, Parker heads back to her hometown, Creighton, to attend the funeral and figure out what to do with the pub her dad left her. When Parker gets to town, she visits Jesse, who thinks her dad's death was a suicide. He even brings up how her dad had been feeling down and missing her. But Parker isn't buying it. Jesse takes her to the family pub, which she's now inherited. Seeing photos of her dad everywhere hits her hard, and she struggles with the grief. That night, things get weird. Parker spots a guy sneaking around the bar, and her instincts kick in. She attacks him, only to realize it's Mike, her childhood best friend. Mike's there to check on his pet lizard that's been living at the bar. During their chat, Mike mentions he found her dad's body while investigating the mine. Curious, they decide to check out the site together. At the mine, Mike tells Parker that her dad had been spending a lot of time there lately, even installing security cameras at the entrance. Parker notices something odd about the way the rocks are arranged. After taking a closer look, she figures out the mine collapsed because of a grenade explosion. Mike suggests her dad might have accidentally triggered the grenade, but Parker doesn't think that's likely. She starts suspecting foul play. Back at the pub, Parker runs into Elvis, Jesse's younger brother, who has a reputation for being the family troublemaker. Their conversation is awkward and tense because of some bad blood between them. Later, Parker and Mike head to their car when Parker notices a van full of guns. She decides to follow it. The trail leads her to a store where some men are planning a robbery. Parker tells Mike to stay put while she goes inside to stop them. A fight breaks out, and during the chaos, Parker notices one of the criminals wearing an old watch. She recognizes it as belonging to Frank, one of her dad's old friends. When she returns the watch to Frank, he reveals the thieves had taken it from him at gunpoint. The next morning, Parker hears an explosion near the mine and rushes to check it out. She finds Elvis and his crew messing around with RPGs, rocket-propelled grenades. She wonders how they got their hands on such advanced weaponry. To dig deeper, Parker contacts Spider, a skilled hacker. She sends him the link to the mine's security cameras, and Spider hacks in to help her figure out what's going on. Through the footage, Parker uncovers some shady activities involving Elvis. It looks like he's been doing some sketchy business on the dark web, and Parker starts to think he might be connected to her dad's death. Later, she learns there's a stash of modern military gear hidden near the mine, so she keeps an eye on it. Parker visits Georgia, Mike's mom, to get more info. Mike tells her that Elvis once tried to sell an AK-47 to a friend, but doesn't know where Elvis gets his supply of weapons. Then Spider updates Parker about a deal going down at Elvis's house that day. Parker sneaks over to see what's up. One of the clients tests a machine gun, and stray bullets nearly hit Parker, but she manages to dodge them. She overhears that a notorious domestic terrorist named Ghost is trying to buy RPGs from Elvis. Turns out, Elvis is running an illegal arms business. Later, Parker goes on a date with Jesse, and he introduces her to his dad, Ezekiel, who's running for Senate. Ezekiel seems like he's trying to use Parker to win over Latino voters. Despite her reservations, Parker spends the night with Jesse, and they reflect on the past. They end up sleeping together, but in the middle of the night, Parker sneaks out. She rides her bike to the police station, uses Jesse's key card to break into his office, and grabs her dad's files. The next day, Parker is overcome with emotion as she says goodbye to her dad's ashes during the funeral. Meanwhile, Ezekiel keeps trying to win her support for his campaign, but Parker's focus is elsewhere. She gets a text from Spider saying Elvis is at the cave, so she ditches the party and heads straight there. When she arrives, Parker sees Elvis and his crew loading weapons from the cave. She quickly slashes the tires on their truck to stop them from leaving. Moments later, Parker confronts Elvis and takes him down before he can pull the trigger on her. She tries to make him confess, but before she can get far, one of his cronies sets her house on fire. Parker is forced to abandon him and deal with the flames. In a brutal fight with her attacker, she ends up falling from a great height. Luckily, she manages to shield herself and comes out of it unscathed. As she chases after Elvis, who's scrambling to escape in a wrecked car, she catches up and punches him relentlessly. Before long, Jesse shows up and arrests her for assaulting his brother, hauling her off to the station. It's revealed that Ezekiel Swan and his sons are behind the illegal arms smuggling operation, and Parker is convinced they're the ones who killed her father. Jesse tries to bribe her into staying quiet, but Parker isn't having it. She blows up at him, revealing she has solid evidence against them, including footage from the mine security cameras. After talking with her lawyer, Luis Torres, he heads to the mine to gather the documents needed for her case. But before he can do much, Jesse sneaks up on him under Ezekiel's orders to take him out. Meanwhile, Ezekiel and his sons plan to torture Parker to force her to give up the security footage. Parker, being the resourceful woman she is, starts working on unlocking her handcuffs with a small tool. When Ezekiel demands she call her contact, Parker pretends to agree. During the call with Spider, she cries out that she's being tortured, all part of her clever plan. Parker seizes her chance, disarms Elvis, locks them in a cell, and shoots Ezekiel in the shoulder. Dragging him outside, she's interrupted by another officer, and while she handles him, Ezekiel manages to slip away. After the scuffle, Parker heads outside, but Ezekiel is nowhere to be found. She gets into a car to leave but starts feeling faint from her injuries. Losing control of the vehicle, she crashes, and a nearby farmer rushes to her aid. While Parker is out of commission, Jesse uses the opportunity to dig into her recent communications with Spider. Pretending to be her, he sends a message saying she's fine and doesn't need any help. Meanwhile, Elvis and his crew search for Parker, even showing up at Mike's house. Mike and his mom deny seeing her, and after a thorough search, Elvis leaves. It's revealed, however, that Parker is hiding in the basement, recovering under Mike and his mom's care. Jesse and Elvis are stressed about delivering the weapons to Ghost, a notorious domestic terrorist, fearing the delay could backfire. Parker wakes up after 3 days of being sedated, and Mike shows her his hidden talent for farming. Despite Mike's curiosity about her plans, Parker stays tight-lipped. Georgia, Mike's mom, claims they're short on weapons, but an old family property has what Parker needs to gear up. On top of that, her dad's old friend Frank provides her with grenades, firearms, and a large, ancient blade. The Swans face their own problems. Ghost is furious about delays in getting RPGs and discovers Ezekiel has blown all the money on his election campaign. In retaliation, Ghost kidnaps Ezekiel's sons. Parker, ready for action, sneaks into the Swans' property, takes out a lone guard, and dumps his body in the pool. She confronts Ezekiel, who denies any involvement in her father's death, but her threats eventually make him spill the truth. Turns out, Harry had uncovered the Swans' arms smuggling operation, and it was Jesse who shot him. As Harry was dying, he likely triggered the grenade that caused the mine to collapse. Despite Mike's warnings about the risks, Parker insists on taking on Ghost and his gang, confident she knows the tunnels better than anyone. The gang returns to the cave, now responsible for moving the weapons themselves. Parker gets ready for round 2, setting traps and planning her strikes. Spider suddenly shows up, looking for Parker, but the gang tricks him into thinking she's inside. Their real intention is to kill him. Parker uses a series of explosions to distract the gang, giving Spider a chance to fight back. Though outnumbered, Spider holds his own until he's captured and dragged into the cave. Parker sneaks through the tunnels, finds Spider, and takes out the crooks holding him. While exploring, she discovers a stash of RPGs and uses one to blow up the illegal munitions warehouse. The explosion triggers a massive cave-in, injuring Parker's arm. Ghost shows up during the chaos, but Parker takes him down in a fierce fight. Just when she thinks it's over, Elvis appears and shoots at her. Using her combat skills, Parker defeats and kills him too. With the dust settling, Mike and Parker's friends help her locate Spider under the rubble. Thankfully, he's still alive. Parker then shifts her focus to Jesse, who has retreated to a military base disguised as a civilian armory. Posing as an injured civilian, Parker tricks the soldiers into letting her in. Once inside, she resumes her hunt for Jesse. She ambushes him, confronting him about betraying her father, who had cared for Jesse more than his own dad ever did. Jesse, cornered and panicking, pulls out a grenade. Despite Parker's attempts to talk him down, Jesse, overcome with guilt and regret, detonates the grenade, taking his own life. Shaken but resolute, Parker returns home to rebuild her family's bar. She decides to rejoin the military, but before leaving, Spider shares a video he found of her father's murder. Parker refuses to watch it, choosing instead to focus on a happier video her dad had made of their childhood memories. In the end, Mike takes over managing the family bar, and Parker promises to attend the grand reopening. With a mix of closure and determination, Parker moves forward, ready for what's next. If you like this recap, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you didn't, go ahead and hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. Seriously though, you should watch the full movie for yourself. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.